Hey everyone, so this morning during a live stream, started work on a small study that I'm completing for a larger drawing. This is the state of it after my first session on it. I wanted to take this opportunity to describe and kind of show you this technique that I use to assess the drawing. What I'm assessing it for are accuracy in sizes, shapes, and proportions, and overall value relationships for the most part. It is a study, so I'm not shooting for 100% accuracy with these things. I do want to spend a little bit of time looking for those inaccuracies and then coming up with solutions to correct them, just so that when I get to the larger drawing, I know how to deal with these issues, because they'll probably come up again when I get to that larger drawing. So the technique that I use to assess it was I took a photo of it, and I'll pull that up here. Took a photo of it and then flipped it as if I were looking at it in a mirror. And you can also just use a mirror. And this is a common technique that artists use to assess their representational works for accuracy. And when I do that, usually the errors jump out right away. I can see them more clearly. When we're working, our eyes get used to seeing the drawing in its current orientation, and those mistakes, those inaccuracies can be difficult to see after a while. And with portraiture, accuracy is important. You know, I want the drawing to look like the model as much as I can. That's one of the goals. It's not the only goal. You know, I'm also trying to breathe life into the drawing too. Changing the orientation of the work in any direction, you know, flipping it upside down or looking at it sideways, also helps to see those inaccuracies a little more clearly and readily. And you know what that does is that it forces me to see what I'm drawing as a shape rather than, say, a chin. So the thinking in my brain switches from drawing a chin, you know, and there's all these, you know, preconceived notions about what a chin looks like that are getting in the way of my accuracy, hindering the accuracy, right? So to get past those preconceived notions, I can work on it upside down and flip my reference image upside down too. And then it doesn't look like a chin anymore, right? And so then I'm just seeing a shape of light and shadow. And so then I can just focus on drawing those shapes, getting those shapes accurate. If I do that, most of the time I'll end up with an accurate looking chin, right? Or whatever body part it is that you're working, right? And that's just a small part of the bigger drawing. You can do the same thing with the larger shapes, such as the head. But I found that with portraiture, the one technique that really helps me is to view it flipped horizontally. Once I did that, some of the things I saw were the cheekbone over here on the left was a little too low, so I need to go back in and find that again. Lower lip is a little too big, or it sticks out too far. The neck is maybe looking a little too wide. I think I've got this shadow right under the chin, maybe sticking out a little too far. Light on the upper eyelid, you know, just underneath the eyebrow, it's a little too bright. Kind of flattens it out a little bit. That plane underneath the eyebrow is turned away from the light, right? It's kind of going under. So that shouldn't quite be as bright, I think, as I have it. So I'm going to tone that down a little bit. The nose has some issues. Maybe it looks a little too big. I've got to revisit that. And then I also saw some, you know, compositional things. You know, the top of the head gets really close to the top of the drawing there. You know, it's not a huge problem with just a study, but it's something that I'm going to need to plan out a little more when I get to the bigger drawing. The bigger drawing, I'll probably mat it and frame it. I want to leave a little more room between the top of the drawing and then the edge of the paper. I think I'm going to get the shoulders, the contours of the shoulders in there a little more distinctly and clearly and accurately. In the reference photo, there's a really nice tilt to the shoulders that adds an angle, a diagonal to the composition. That diagonal kind of creates movement, and it's also creating a nice balance between other diagonals, such as the diagonal between the eyes. And so it kind of creates this nice little fan of diagonals. As you're conducting your analysis, it's a good idea to write down the inaccuracies that you're seeing or the improvements or changes that you want to make. And then you can go through them one at a time, check them off as you complete them. So I hope these techniques help you out too in your artwork, and thanks for watching my video.